In addressing the challenges of disabilities, the perception by the general public is sometimes different from how persons living with one form of impairment or another understand their condition. Indeed, the public define disability in terms of the physical, emotional, or mental impairment that may hinder a person from performing normal human activities. However, persons with disabilities, for instance, a blind theologian, argued that disability is better defined from the perspective of any restriction or lack resulting from an impairment of ability to perform any activity in the manner or within the range considered normal for a human being. In other words, to the physically challenged, the experience of the lack and neglect they suffer is more painful to them than the physical condition itself.
I have somebody who is a friend. He said he cannot be able to touch a disabled. He said if he touch a disabled, I'm telling you, he will feel sick.
According to World Health Organization, WHO, an estimate of 1.3 billion people globally are said to be experiencing one form of disability or the other. Equally, the 2020 Nigerian census claims that over 27 million Nigerians live with some form of disability. In consequence, disabled persons represent a large percentage of Nigeria's population and should therefore not be neglected.
So that means that when you have one family, there's a possibility that one person in a 10 family is affected with disability. And sadly, nobody is doing anything about it. And that is the area of concern. Whether we like it or not, disability can happen to anybody at any time.
It is perhaps pertinent to highlight some of the challenges encountered by disabled persons, especially in Nigeria. Such challenges include lack of access to quality and special education for specific deformity, lack of vocational training facilities and programs, social stigmatization, discrimination or exclusion from employment opportunities, lack of social support mechanism or inadequate institutional facilities to support deformed conditions, for instance, transportation facilities. Other challenges are unequal access to health institutions, lack of care or complete abandonment of disabled persons, and the caregiving family members.
Ọmọ bíbí inú mi ni. Ó fẹ́ pé 21 years báyìí. Ó wà òkè ní bíbí tí mo bí. Ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ kan ṣẹlẹ̀ láàrin mi àti ìyá ẹ̀ tó gbé lọ sí ìlú wọn. Ni ó wá ní misuse títà yẹn ló sọ di báyìí. Ìgbà tán máa gbé padà wá bá mi ní Ìbàdàn níbí. Ó ti di pé ó ti fẹ́ rọ lọ́wọ́, ó ti fẹ́ rọ lẹ́sẹ̀, ó ti fẹ́ rọ lórí, ó ti fẹ́ kò lè dá nàró kórí ẹ̀ kò dúró lọ́rùn ẹ̀ kí ara ẹ̀ jókòó kalẹ̀, kó lè jókòó bí ẹ̀ ṣe ń jókòó tàbí pé kí èèyàn lè nàró.
It is, however, heartwarming to underscore the fact that awareness for disability inclusive development is increasing. For instance, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, CRPD, is seriously promoting the full integration of persons with disabilities in societies. Thankfully, in Nigeria, certain legislations and policies have been developed to legitimize the employment and care for the disabled. Additionally, non-governmental and not-for-profit organizations are also coming up to support government's efforts towards supportive technologies or systems to care for disabled persons. One of such organizations is the Disability Empowerment Foundation, an initiative geared towards helping people with developmental and intellectual disabilities. This initiative was inspired by the experience of the president and founder of Disability Empowerment Foundation, Reverend Tayo Shodipo, an ordained Baptist minister with years of experience in pastoral care and counseling and educational ministry, who during his youthful days shared in the responsibilities of taking care of a cousin who had cerebral palsy.
My childhood was decimated with a lot of experiences. I had a cousin. He had cerebral palsy. I was with him, working with him to provide social care that was needed.
Having been equipped with the understanding of the limitations of people in this category and the huge burden on family members, Disability Empowerment Foundation, DEF, started its work with a clear mission. Objectives guiding the foundation since it was inaugurated are to organize outreach, to raise awareness in the church for the need to empower people with disabilities, to provide educational and training programs and services to facilitate the church ministry with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and to organize seminars, workshops, and conferences to generate ideas on how best to improve the quality of their lives by promoting their inclusion in the church and community. Apart from Reverend Olutayo Shodipo, the president and founder of the organization, Disability Empowerment Foundation parades as board members reputable professionals of integrity, including Professor Olubenga Olumekun as chairman. Ever since its inauguration, the foundation has been using its wealth of knowledge and resources in sharing, imparting, and partnering with other non-governmental and not-for-profit organizations to provide palliatives as well as promote best practices.
Many still think of the world of disability as one they have no desire to visit, one to avoid, one that's pitied and feared, one in which just one feature of a person's life, their disability, is used to judge everything about the person even before we know them.
In order to ensure that the physically challenged are properly integrated into society, their plight and welfare should be at the front burner of not just the government's development programs, but should be paramount in the consideration of well-meaning and discerning minds.
I hate living like this. I have a first-class honours degree in architecture. My brain doesn't work like it used to, but I'd still like to be able to do some things.
Unless you are stone-hearted, the thought of people who cannot walk, talk, see, communicate, or have lost the ability to effectively interact with their loved ones cannot but stir up in you some deep sense of empathy. In fact, not a few people will feel thankful that they were not born with some physical or mental disability, to the extent that they will want to ask God why He permitted such affliction. Sadly though, we still have in our society today others who are aware of such people with special needs, yet have made some conscious decision to avoid them because it makes them uncomfortable to be around such people. this is absolutely wrong and uncharitable.
I cannot do it alone. I cannot do it alone. You know, people don't want to associate themselves with special people, and nobody knows tomorrow. I pray for long life, that he will not suffer. That's just...
As we pray and believe that affliction in whatever form will not arise against us and our loved ones, it is crucial to join the movement for the welfare of disabled persons. To learn more about the areas you can offer your support in providing palliatives for these persons with disabilities, financially and in whatever area, please get in touch with the following contacts.